Greetings, YouTube and BookTube. Welcome to Michael Romeo Talks Books. I'm Michael Romeo, and I talk about books, hence the name of the channel. Well, this video should probably be called a name that is synonymous with Britney Spears and her song, Oops, I Did It Again. I bought more books. What can I say? The Read What You Own challenge starts Monday, and I had an idea for doing an event during the course of the year coming up, and for it I needed books. Needed specific books. I'm doing author spotlights. I did one way back when I started the channel. I did James A. Michener, and it was well received, and my intention was to do one every month, and for some reason it just didn't happen. Well, I'm going to start doing them. I'm going to start doing author spotlights once a month. And there are a couple authors I wanted to spotlight, and I needed their books. Really, honest. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. The first one, everybody my age anyway, or even a little bit younger, remembers the classic novel Love Story by Erich Segal. Well, I've got that on my Kindle, and it's definitely going to be read on my Read What You Own challenge, even though it's a reread. I read it years ago. I'm talking like junior high school. I read this book. Well, one of the books I got is the sequel to Love Story, called Oliver's Story, and this is what happened after Love Story. And I was going to read from the flap, or even from the first few pages, but then I realized that reading either one gives a spoiler for Love Story for those who haven't read it or seen the movie. So I'm just going to say that Love Story is an awesome book. They made an awesome movie out of it, starring Ryan O'Neal and Ali MacGraw. Oliver's Story, I don't know. I've not read it. The movie was okay. But reading a little bit here and there in the book, I think the book is going to be quite good. Yes, because I am doing one of the authors, 20th century authors I am going to showcase will be Erich Segal. Now, there is another book coming. There's actually two books coming as part of this order, but they're not going to be here until the 6th, which is the start of Read What You Own challenge. Well, I bought and paid for them prior to the 6th. So they count, okay? One of them is another Erich Segal book called Prizes, and about 3 scientists trying to win a Nobel Prize. And he's an excellent author. I read a couple of his other books. I read The Class. I read Doctors. I don't have those two. I wish I did. I couldn't find them. But if I can find them after the Read What You Own challenge, I will add them to the water. But Erich Segal is a great author, and he writes skinny little books, which will be very helpful for the Read What You Own challenge. Also, I got the final book. It's got no dust cover on it, but it is the final book in my Jacqueline Susann collection, and it is. Well, let me get that sticker off. It's right over the title. Oh, how annoying! There we go. Okay, it is. Once is not enough. Okay? And as an intro to this book, I'm going to read for you the 2-page and a little bit prologue. And it's called Him. He burst upon the theatrical scene in 1945. He was Mike Wayne, a born winner. He had been known as the best crapshooter in the Air Force, and the $13,000 in cash strapped around his waist proved the legend to be fact. When he was in his late teens, he had already figured the stock market and show business to be the two biggest crap games in the world. He was 27 when he got out of the Air Force and crazy about girls, so he picked show business. He parlayed his 13,000 into 60 with 5 hot days at Aqueduct. By investing it in a Broadway show, he became co-producer. The show was a hit, and he married Vicki Hill, the most beautiful girl in the chorus. Vicki wanted to be a star, and he gave her the chance. In 1948, he produced his first big, lavish musical on his own and starred his wife. It was a hit in spite of her. The critics praised his theatrical know-how in surrounding her with talented performers, a foolproof book, and a hit score. But they all agreed that Vicki was less than adequate. When the show ended its run, he retired her. Baby, you gotta know when to walk away from the table when the dice are cold. I gave you your shot. Now you give me a son. On New Year's Day 1950, she presented him with a baby girl. He promptly named her January. And when the nurse put the baby in his arms, he silently swore he would give her the world. When she was 2, he greeted her before he greeted his wife. When she was 4, he went to California and produced his first movie. When she was 5, he produced 2 hit pictures in 1 year and was nominated for an Oscar. When she was 6, he won the Oscar, and his name was linked with several beautiful stars. That was when his wife began to drink and took a lover of her own. When she was 7, he named his private plane after her, and his wife killed herself trying to abort their unborn son. And then there were just the 2 of them. He tried to explain things the day he drove her to the boarding school in Connecticut. Now that mommy's gone, this fancy joint will teach you to become a lovely lady. Why can't you teach me, Daddy? Because I travel a lot, and besides, ladies are supposed to teach little girls. Why did Mommy die, Daddy? I don't know, honey. Maybe because she wanted to be somebody. Is that bad? Only when you aren't, and it eats away at your insides. Are you somebody, Daddy? Me? I'm a super somebody, he laughed. Then, I'll be a somebody, she told him. Okay, but before you can be anybody, you have to be a lady. So she had accepted Miss Haddon's school, and whenever he was in New York, they would spend the weekends together. His fame grew, and like all good gamblers, he knew when to push his luck and when to quit. He had been known to change the odds at the track with one bet. Once he lost his plane on the roll of the dice, but he walked away with a grin because he knew there would be another time. And if you asked him when his luck ran out, he could tell you the exact day. Rome, June 20th, 1967. The day they told him about his daughter. Potboiler. That's what they called these books back in the 20th century. They called them potboilers. And Jacqueline Susann knows how to write a potboiler. So this one, Once Is Not Enough. I will be doing a author spotlight on Ms. Jacqueline Susann. I now have all of her books, all of them. Another one that I am going to be doing an author spotlight on is Thomas Tryon. He wrote one of my favorite horror novels of all time, The Other, which really is one of the scariest horror novels ever written. It's not got lots of gore, it's not got lots of violence, but it works up here. And it plays with your brain. And when you get to the denouement and the sudden twist at the end, he's got you wound up pretty tight, and it comes as a genuine surprise. This first one that I got, I read his other books by him as well. There's 3 of his books I haven't read. 3, 4, 4 I haven't read. One of them is The Night of the Moonbow, which is considered to be one of his scariest books. Cabin 7 was supposed to be the lucky one at Camp Friend Indeed, a Bible camp nestled in the piney woods next to Moonbow Lake in rural Connecticut. But it was 1938, a year notorious for cruelty, unnatural acts, and terror. Cabin 7 was chosen to get the new camper, a mysterious orphan with the talent for music and more interest in collecting spiders than winning at baseball. The camp motto was "Glad Men from Happy Boys," but the new camper would bring a chilling secret to this final season, a season when the legendary Moonbow would appear over the lake, when an orderly society of boys would transform itself into something primitive and dangerous, when evil, already loose in the world, would be made flesh in one summer night of murder and madness. Sounds good. The other book that hasn't arrived yet, that is going to arrive Monday, is a Thomas Tryon book. And it's called The Wings of the Morning. And it is the first of 2 books. The sequel is In the Fires of Spring, which has arrived. Look at this monster. If I had known, I will not be reading this for the Read What You Own challenge, because this will take me a month to read anyway. Not to mention reading the book that comes before it. But I will include it and what I know about it in my video on Thomas Tryon. He's written a number of books, Thomas Tryon did, before he died, and an early death, an unfortunate early death. And he's just a phenomenal writer. Harvest Home was another one of his great books, but I'm not gonna start off the spotlight now, because then I won't have anything to do with him later. But those are the 4 books of 6 that I ordered. 2 more coming. They will be the last books I buy before Monday, when the Read What You Own challenge begins. And then it begins. But I was really stomach knotted over doing a 100-book challenge at the start, but I've become very excited about it, and I'm looking forward to it, because I have all these books that have stood over me, like, you bought me, read me, and I never read them, and now I'm going to start reading them. And 100 books, there's going to be a small dent in what I have between physical books and what's on my Kindle. And it's going to be nice to knock some of these off my to-read list. And I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a bit of an adjustment to not do that knee-jerk purchase whenever I see a $1.99 book on BookBub or Early Bird Books. I'm going to have to just stay away from those emails every day. I may even stop the emails, but then I'm afraid of not being able to find them again later on. And that's about it for now. This is my last book haul for the season. And we start the Read What You Own on Monday, after turning the clocks back here in this country. I don't know when it happens in other countries, but we're turning the clocks back in the morning hours. Tonight, tomorrow morning, however you want to look at it. And that means I get to work a 9-hour shift, which means I get more reading time on the book that I'm reading. And I wish I could count it because it's a book I own, but the challenge doesn't start till Monday, so I can't count the book I'm reading now. Oh, the stress. Anyway, it's all fine. It's all fine. I'm looking forward to doing the author spotlights in 2024. I hope you all will watch them and comment on them, and go ahead and comment on this video. Go ahead and give it a like to see what it does to the algorithm. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe. I do have some fun stuff, and you get to see when I post it. And I guess that's it for now. Keep reading, everybody. It's a good thing to do. Keep reading. Books are wonderful. Talk to y'all later.